Right, welcome everyone. Today's my first day going live, getting a bit nervous. And yeah, so today we're going to go through the grade 11 paper one. It's a whole walkthrough from section A, section B, section C, the dreaded essay. And I'm going to go through how it is set up, how you can answer it, tips and tricks. I've got my water ready, I've got my coffee ready, energy ready. So let's go and let's get on with it. I'm going to wait a few minutes just so people can join, and then we're going to go through it. So in the meantime, you might as well grab yourself a notebook, a pen, paper, and preferably your business studies notes, just so you can make notes as we go. And this video will be uploaded once we are done with the live. And it's going to be a long one today, guys. So I hope that you are ready. These videos normally take an hour and a half to 2 hours to record. So now I'm doing it live. So let's see how long this is going to take. Let's give it maybe 5 minutes and then we can get started. Oh, yes. And before I forget, please do put your comments in the chat box. I will check through them as I go. I apologize if there's a bit of technical difficulties today. It's my first time going live. So I see I've got a comment. Do I know anything about paper two? Yes, I do. I have posted a video last week explaining exactly paper two and all the different chapters. Let me know when you're writing, and I want to do the same live for that as well for paper two. So we're just going to wait another 3 minutes. I'll enjoy my coffee before we get started. Thank you for the reactions. I do see them coming through. I appreciate it. 13 November. Okay. I will jot that down and note it so that I can have that video up in time. Right. If everyone is ready, we don't need to wait for our 5 minutes. You can just send me a thumbs up, hit that like button, reaction, and we can get started unless you do want to wait for the other minute to go. Paper one tomorrow. Well, I'm really glad I did this video. I do know I've missed some of you that have written. Thank you for all the comments on my videos. I have missed a few of you that did write earlier this week, and some even wrote today, this morning. And I'm currently writing as we're doing this live. So for those that I can get to, I'm really, really happy. So let's enjoy it. Cindy, I have posted that. Not exactly a scope. It's difficult to give a scope because schools set up papers, different districts and departments set up different papers. But I did make a video. Just go check on my channel. It says grade 11, paper 1 and paper 2. I do go through the different chapters that'll be asked and the different questions. So just check that out. All right, so let me share my screen so that we can get started. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to hop between the two, between the chats and between the live, just so that I can get to your questions. And it might be easier at this stage that I answer them as we go. All right, so I've used the Eastern Cape paper for 2022. Apologies, that was meant to be 2024, but we can use the one for 2022. You'll see same scenario, 2 hours, 150 marks. And then here's your normal, I think you guys know the instructions by now, but I always stress in my videos, and please, I'm stressing it now too. Please, you need to answer section A. You need to answer only 2 questions in section B and only 1 in section C. You will be penalized in the sense that if you're going to answer all 3 questions within section B, then we're only going to mark your first 2, even if you didn't do them completely and to the fullest. And then again, like I've mentioned in my previous videos, please make sure you look at the time allocation. And I even say, maybe right next to here, the times, right next to it as a guide, so you can see from, if you start at 8 o'clock, so from 8 to 20 past 8, you must do section A, and so on and so forth. All right. Okay, so let's start on with section A, question 1. So I'm going to go through them one by one. You'll see the animations just pop up as we go through the answers. If you have any questions, please do pop them in. I think after this section, I will just go through the questions one by one. All right, so here we have Anchor Bank operates in the what sector, as they specialize in providing financial facilities. So when we look at this, so we have primary, secondary, and tertiary. That economic, that is what we call a distractor. We know, and if you've studied enough, that is not part of the 3 sectors. So we know primary sector, there we're talking about raw materials, getting the raw materials, so physically chopping down a tree. Secondary sector, there we are talking about processing it, so taking that tree and turning it into wood. So in the tertiary, we're talking about services. So it's going to be the tertiary sector because we're talking about services. And if we're talking about financial, hospitality, any of those, it falls within that section. All right, hopefully we're good there so far. So you'll be awarded 2 marks for that question. Next one, the way of forming power relations on how businesses can get credit easily is through. Right, so when we're talking about power relations, the way I always remember it is within Hollywood, you've got your power couples. So if we use a take on power couples, they obviously have strength within themselves and they're able to maybe achieve more and whatnot in that power relation. So the answer here we're looking at persuasion of large investors. Why we're looking at getting credit and forming that power relation. Right, then moving on. Walter's Cold Drinks changes their packaging continually as this is known as, so we're talking about packaging, that's our favorite marketing chapter. Lots of sarcasm in that when I say that. So they're looking at changing it continually. So packaging for double use, no. Packaging for resale, we're going to pin that. Speciality, maybe not. So our answer there is kaleidoscopic. A nice keyword, so this one is a little bit of a tricky one. A nice keyword there would have been, remember with kaleidoscopic, we change it for sports. So with soccer World Cups coming up and rugby World Cups coming up, you'll see that within it, we change it. And I know Coca-Cola a few years ago had it where they put the different countries onto their packaging. So that's when we think kaleidoscopic. So the fact that it says we are changing it continually means that we're likely changing it according to the different events that are happening. All right, just let me know if we're all still good. Anyone have any questions? Hopefully you're learning something today. Let me know if you're learning something. Then moving on, businesses use what when sales staff have face-to-face contact with potential customers. Okay, your keyword there was face-to-face. Face-to-face was your keyword there, and we look at them now with the marketing chapter. I'm not going to lie to you. Personal selling, advertising, sales promotion, and publicity are all very, very similar. But personal selling is that one-on-one. It's when you walk into a mall, someone has a stall and they're busy selling, I don't know, facial cream, and you tell them you struggle with dark marks. Then they can specialize which one that you should use specifically for that. So it's more that one-on-one, face-to-face, personal contact. So our answer there is personal selling, because one by one, you guys are going through what you need that product for, what are your specific needs, even if someone's selling, for example, a vacuum cleaner. All right. I see we're going to repeat 1.2. I'll do it really quickly. The answer is there. And please note, I'm not going to go through everyone one by one because this is going to be uploaded after the live. And am I seeing it right? Pele Zuma, thank you for your comment. I appreciate that. Then 1.1.5, the what ensures human resources manager guards against discriminatory appointments. Right. This is way in the beginning when there was that one chapter where you do all the contemporary legislation. This is very important because you're doing legislation as a whole chapter. There are 8 acts in grade 12. So when we're looking at guarding against discrimination, so labor relations, that one is dealing with people in the workplace, and it's more dealing with the labor laws and regarding working hours, same as well as basic conditions, employment equity. There's your keyword, discriminatory and equity. So then we're talking about keeping everything fair, keeping everything equal, making sure everyone is not discriminated against race, age, their sexual gender. And then we have COIDA at the bottom, and COIDA is all about injuries and diseases at the workplace. So our answer there is going to be employment equity, for the reason that we are looking at keeping everything equal amongst our staff members. Whereas basic conditions, that we're not dealing with that, because that we're dealing with how many hours you should work, what is your remuneration, your employment contract, COIDA, we spoke about COIDA, and labor relations, there we're talking about your physical labor and regarding working. And when we're talking about discriminatory, we're talking about employment equity. Okay, right. I'm just going to pop over the questions. I know I've been hopping between the two. I just want to check here quickly. Okay, you're writing on the 8th. Cool. I'm really glad. I'm glad that I'm getting this video out before you are writing. That is really awesome. Okay, don't forget to hit that like button. Let me know how it's going, if you guys are enjoying this live, and if you would like me to go live more often. Like I've said, going live is very nerve-wracking, so bear with me. Okay, moving on to 1.2. All right, before we dive into this, we have 5 questions and 10 answers, meaning for every correct answer, it has a buddy that is incorrect. So what I sometimes tell students is to look for the buddies. And immediately the one that popped up to me was full control, no control. So the answer is going to be either full control or no control. So instead of picking between 10 options here, you're picking between 2. We can see takeover and merger. That's part of our adapting to the challenges chapter. Induction is human resources, induction and interview. Okay. Industrial relations, industrial action. Shopping and convenience. I just want to apologize for my dog that is barking. If she does become a bit hectic, I will definitely let her know. And any cars that drive past, it can get a bit noisy here. I'm just going to open the window for a second. With the summer coming up, it's getting rather warm lately. I don't know if you guys would agree with me. All right, so businesses have what over microlending? It's a very weird way to word it. But when we're talking about micro lending, we are talking about environments, we're talking about the different control, micro, macro market. And there, when we're looking at it, micro lending is in which, just answer that quickly, micro lending is in which environment? Is it micro, macro, or market? I'll give you guys just a little bit of time just to answer that. So micro lending is a micro, macro, or market? Everyone's a little bit shy in the life. Don't stress. For the most part, me too. Okay, I've got a full control there. Okay. So it is no control. Why? Micro lending is in the macro environment. So where that would have skewed you and where they try to trick you is this word micro. They try to trick you with the word micro because micro, you're thinking micro environment. So it's actually in the macro environment because micro lending, we're talking about getting loans from small businesses because we can't get a loan from the bank. And therefore, we have no control whether they're going to give us a loan or whether they're not going to give us a loan. Then what I've done is I've just crossed out our two options. So we don't have to look at them. We don't have to worry about them anymore. Moving on to the next one. A what occurred when Fuller Pty Ltd and Paddy Pty Ltd agreed to combine, keyword, agreed to combine to form one business. If we are both agreeing, oh, the amount of times I went through this in my videos, we are both agreeing to form into one business. I know that I've used this in the Excel space. So with Microsoft Excel, we have said you take two cells and you make them one. I see the comments coming through. Exactly. It is a merger, 100%. It is a merger. Okay. A takeover is where we completely take over your business. We're not combining them. We're not becoming one. So your keywords there were combine, to form for the most part, and one business, merger. So we're going to cross out merger and its friend takeover. Moving on. I just want to make a note. There is a mistake in the choice box, but we're not at that question yet. So with question 1.2.4, there is a mistake. I'm going to deal with that. I noticed it while I was making the slides this morning. So I did notice that. All right. So the interaction between employees and management is known as what? So our options are induction and interview, shopping and convenience, or industrial action, industrial relations. So it's the interaction between employees and management. I'm warning you, this one is a bit tricky. This one, I personally believe they did it to throw you off a little bit. So with that one, it is industrial relations. Remember, and the keyword here was, it is the interaction. Industrial action, if you go look, it's very small print in the slides and the textbook. You'll see that industrial action, we're talking about strikes. We're specifically talking about strike action, protesting, striking, whereas industrial relations is basically labor relations. It's just another word for labor relations. So if you want to write industrial relations there, it's the same meaning. Industrial relations, labor relations, same. All right. Let me know if you guys are enjoying this so far. If you're learning something, we're going to cross both of them out. Then this question, okay, I just want to let you know, okay, the answer is not in the text box, which I'm a little bit embarrassed about. But you know what? Let's rather go through it. And there was a point when I was making the slides where I thought to myself, maybe I should just scrap this paper and do a whole nother paper. But at the end of the day, I realized you guys face this sometimes where, number one, most things look wrong, if you'll agree with me. You'll look at all the options and you'll say to yourself, but they both look wrong. Or number two, you'll say to yourself, but they both seem like the correct answer or the incorrect answer. So this one is incorrect. So your options there is going to be shopping and convenience, but those are not the correct answer. So what they would have done in this question is two things. When going through the memo discussion, the educators would have either given a mark for you writing shopping or convenience, or they would have taken this question out, and instead of your paper being out of 150, your paper would be out of 148. I know that seems very weird, but just to not disadvantage anyone. So the question says, consumers buy what goods after putting time and effort into comparing similar products, which when I read that, it is convenience goods, but I saw the memo saw personal selling. So because the memo says personal selling, the answer is convenience goods, right? They would give you this mark. So that question, I don't want to spend too much time on it because I don't want to confuse you. This happens sometimes with examiners and setting up papers. So just note that if you wrote shopping or convenience, either one, you would have gotten the mark for that one. All right, you're definitely enjoying. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm really, really glad. Then, let's just cross out it in its buddies. Then we have obtaining. Okay, so sorry. Sometimes get ahead of myself. This is where live gets a bit intimidating. When I record, I normally edit this out, but you know what? You're getting me all unedited, unplugged. Let's call it that. So, obtaining information about strengths and weaknesses on each candidate takes place during what? During the what of the candidate. So, candidates, if we talk about candidates' strengths and weaknesses regarding the candidates, we're talking human resources. So, we have induction and we have interview. Now, what do we know about induction and interview? So, with induction, that is basically we are welcoming you to the business. I always say it's basically a tour. You get a tour of the business. This is your working station. These are your colleagues. Here's your work to do, whatnot. But with interview, we are actually having a conversation. One-on-one, we're having a conversation between the two of us, and I'm trying to get to know you better. So when we're looking at that, we are going to say, so now I'm getting information about your strengths and weaknesses. So of course I'm doing an interview. I'm not welcoming you into the place. Okay. How can I obtain information about your strengths and weaknesses if I haven't even interviewed you? So I can't do the induction before the interview, if that makes sense. Okay, guys, please don't stress about retracting your answers. We all make mistakes, and that's why we're all here to learn. So I see a lot of people are retracting their answers. Please don't feel ashamed, and please trust me, I was not one that got full marks when I was in matric. I think my final mark was 65% for business studies. So we make mistakes, and that's why papers are set in a certain way for quality so that it can be tested on all different levels. Okay, and then we're just going to cross out the two buddies there. All right, moving on to our table. So match column A with column B. So we have networking. I want to tell you again, here we have the same buddy-buddy system. Maybe it's weird that I call it a buddy-buddy system, but I see them as buddies, okay? Because sometimes, your friends are going the wrong way and you're going the right way, or vice versa. So with this, you have one friend that is correct and one friend that's incorrect, okay? So okay, so what I noticed, and I'm not saying this with every paper, but I noticed it with this paper specifically, is most of them start with the same wording. So if you'll notice, developing and publishing standards for products and services, its buddy is developing solutions after analyzing problems with the production process. Suitable candidates, its buddy is here, suitable applicants. Benefiting businesses by trying to influence, benefiting businesses by making connections. Okay, so as you can see, it's almost like they start the same way. So we're going to do the buddy-buddy system again. I did it in a video maybe 2 years ago. If you want to, take a different color pen and actually circle them in the same colors, so the two matching, which can help you because, again, instead of looking at 10 options, you're looking at 2 options between the two. So networking. Networking is all about going to an event, going online, getting to know people, getting your brand out there. So when we're doing that, okay, obviously I have gone through this paper, so I know it's going to be a lot more for you guys to read right now, but I have gone through this. So when we're looking at it, It's either going to be we're benefiting, so businesses are benefiting by making connections using business website platforms, which is pretty much what I just said, or businesses are benefiting by trying to influence government policies. Now, this is your incorrect one. For why? For what reason? Is because this is lobbying. If you remember lobbying, they were trying to change government policies. So our answer is F, and F is benefiting businesses by making connections by using business website platforms. Okay. Then what I did was we're crossing out both of them because we know we are now done with those two. Then we have lockout, right? What is lockout part of? Let's see if someone can get it in the comments. We did mention it earlier. Lockout is a form of what? If I'm not mistaken, it's either chapter 2 or 3 for business. It's either in the challenges or it's in the adapting. Lockouts, when we think lockouts, we get two types of this. We get lockouts and something else. I'll give you a few seconds. I'll take a sip of coffee. Okay, that is correct. We are physically locking the person out of the workplace, 100%. Okay, I like that actually. That is very, very accurate. I like that. But lockouts form part of strikes. Because if you are striking, we can have a go slow or we can have a lockout, right? And I know a couple of years ago we used to have a wildcat strike, but I'm not going to bore you with those informations. So when we're looking at lockouts, okay, I just want to find it to buddies for a second. So performed by the employee in an attempt to have their demands met, could be. Performed by the employees to keep employees from entering the business, 100%. There, I did get the answer there. We are locking them out of the workplace. So our answer is going to be G, because if we look at it, D is more of just a strike. We're not locking them out, but it's the employees, they are striking to have their demands met. So I'm going to cross both the options out because we're done with that. All right. Then we have grading. This is part of your production chapter. So grading, we're either developing and publishing standards for products and services, or we are developing solutions after analyzing problems within the production process. I'm just letting you know, this one's a tricky one. This one is about keywords and looking at keywords. And remember, grading, I know grading in the textbook goes with standardization as well. So when we're looking at that, we're looking at I, and then the teacher gets it wrong too. So apologies for that. See, we all make mistakes. I'm even making a mistake in my life. Beautiful. So the answer is I. Apologies. See, we all make mistakes. The process of sorting individual units of a product into categories according to their quality, and then I just need to find its buddy because I made a mistake there. The process of developing a uniform set of criteria to ensure the production of quality products. So, where did I go wrong with picking my answer? I went wrong because there I saw the word standards, and immediately I thought standards, grading, standardization. So be careful because that is why you are going through an exam to get tested. So the answer is I, because we are actually sorting them and we're looking at the different categories. So if it's meat, freshness, the grading of the meat, obviously the packaging and whatnot. So I'm going to cross it and its buddy out. Okay. So quality circles. Oh, my favorite. I always like explaining quality circles. I find it to be quite cute to explain personally. So quality circles, the way I look at it as in a business, obviously quality management as a whole, but in a quality circle, it's literally a circle of people, right? So we're sitting in a circle around the table and we are literally discussing quality. So we're in a circle discussing quality. So it's people putting their chairs around in a boardroom and we're saying, okay, we have this product. How can we make this product better? And someone might say, glass is amazing, but maybe we should rather use plastic. Someone's saying maybe we shouldn't include a straw, whatnot. So that is literally when we think quality circles, that's what we should be thinking. So let's find it and its buddy. Which are the two that I mentioned, Nana, where I was incorrect? So those are the two. So now, if we're discussing quality of this glass bottle with its straw, right? We're discussing the quality of this. How can we discuss this thing's quality before we have produced it? Are you with me? Give it a second there. How do we discuss this bottle's quality before we've even produced it? We can't, because we don't know the quality of it until we see the physical product. I'm going to put my water down now. So it has to be J, because we are analyzing it after the production process. We can only see the problems with it after we've produced it. And I'm going to cross those two out. Oh, goodness. Just give you guys a sneak peek at the next one. Selection procedure, HR once again. So we are either doing suitable applicants, identified by conducting preliminary interviews, or suitable applicants are encouraged to apply for vacant posts. Okay, let's just dive into that just a second. I see the comments have gone very quiet. Guys, don't feel shy. Put your comments in there. Put on your guesses. Let's interact and let's learn together. So, okay. Right. So we have both of them are suitable applicants. The one we are encouraging you to apply, and the other one we are doing interviews. So now in the selection procedure, if you remember, we start with recruitment. Recruitment involves the HR manager putting out a post. Well, first, before we do that, they identify a need for that person in the business. So they have identified and said, whoa, hold on. We need another salesperson because our business is growing and we're making a lot of sales. We need another salesperson. So we need another salesperson, right? There's a need. Then we put out a poster. Okay. So this is before we've even done anything else. In selection is when we do the interviews. In selection is where we, losing my words for a second. In selection is where we do the interviews, is where we see who is suitable for what position. So the answer there is definitely going to be conducting preliminary interviews, because we cannot be in the selection procedure. Remember, we are selecting, we are trying to choose a person. We are no longer looking to advertise. We've already done that. We are looking to choose a person that is right for that position, so we cannot be encouraging them to apply for a post. Okay, that is section A done. If you have been doing it as we go, put how much you got out of there out of 30. Remember, it's 2 marks each. I'm just going to make a slight note, something that may be a little bit silly. I see learners writing 1.3.1 and they write the full description. Please don't do that. You are wasting your time, because the question literally says, write only the letter. I know for some of you, you might be saying, but ma'am, that's such a weird thing. Why would students do that? Trust me, it happens. Okay. Trust me, it happens. So don't waste your time. Rather just write the letter. All right. Okay. Moving on to section B. Now remember, section B, we've got question 2, 3, and 4. You are doing 2 of them. For the purpose of this live, because I cannot choose for you, we are going to go through all of them. Okay. So here is our question 2. What I've done is I've taken this and I've just done little screenshots so we can go one by one through the questions. As I know some people put it here on the side, but I feel it's a little bit messy. So it gets a bit messy and crowded for me, so I like to do it one by one, because in all honesty, in your exams and tests, you're going to be doing it one by one. All right, so again, just note, Answer any 2 questions only. So you're either going to do question 2 and 3, 2 and 4, or 3 and 4. Okay. If you did watch my other video to explain the chapters, you would have seen that I specifically said, look at which chapters are asked. Because business environment is asked in question 2 and question 4. The business operations, if I'm not mistaken, apologies, business operations is asked in 3 and 4. So my advice to learners was to do either 2 and 4 or 3 and 4, not to do 2 and 3. Okay, I feel like I'm doing a magic trick. Okay. All right, you guys still with me? Still enjoying? Still having fun? And please let me know if you are learning something. Okay, it would be really awesome to know if you are learning something today. So, 2.1 says, let me just get some water quickly. State 2 examples of contemporary legislation that may affect the business. Now, my question to you is, didn't we just go through that? We just went through that in section A. Okay, bear with me while we go back for a second. Okay, all my annotation. This is why the editing takes so long. Here, we have literally given 4 of them to you. Literally, 4 of them. So, if you didn't know this question, you could literally just go back to section A and write any of these. Okay, just a note from me to you. Okay, apologies for the back and forth and back and forth. Okay, so the 2 that I've chosen is Consumer Protection Act and Labor Relations Act. Do you see the note at the bottom? Do you see that note at the bottom? Mark the first 2 only. Why? Because in a question, if I ask you, state 2, if there's ever a numerical figure, a number, I'm asking you, name 3, name 2, name 1, I am going to mark your first 2, your first 1, your first 3. So, I don't want to ramble on this for too long. If you had written Consumer Protection Act, just try and think. Consumer Protection Act, and then you wrote Household Act and Labor Relations Act. I'm marking your first 2, meaning I would have given you 1 mark for your consumer protection. This Household Act is incorrect, so I wouldn't have given you a mark there. And then the third one is correct, but I'm marking your first 2 only. Okay, the first 2 that come up. So contemporary legislation, it's exactly like I said with those others. So you could have mentioned BEE there. You could have mentioned Basic Conditions of Employment Act. What I would just note, and I don't know where this stands in standardization, be careful just to write LRA or CPA. Be careful to just write the acronyms because you could lose marks for that. I don't know how strict it is. I think it depends on the marker, on the teacher, and on the school. But just heed my warning. Just be careful for that. Right, without further ado, let's go on. The next one is elaborate on the meaning of power relations. We answered that in a little bit of detail in the previous one. Okay, 4 marks. So how many bullets am I going to write for that? Let's see if we know this one. I mean, this is a fairly simple one, I would think. I'm asking you for 4 marks. Remember, in business studies, we write in bullet format. So how many bullets am I writing to get 4 marks? Okay, comments are a little bit quiet, so I will answer you on that one. We're going to do 2 bullets because remember, every bullet counts 2 marks. So all I'm asking for you here is 2 bullets. Now, what I've decided to do differently with this live and with my past paper videos going forward is in the past, I've given all the possible answers and I realized that's probably a bit overwhelming. So I now have chosen to only give you as many as they require for the mark allocation. So there are your answers there. Okay, so if you look at it, they are split marking, meaning if for whatever reason you got stuck and you couldn't remember the meaning, a business forms a relationship, you would get a mark for that. As ridiculous as that sounds, I know it sounds really silly, you would get a mark for saying, thank you, I see your comment now, 2 bullets. You would get a mark for writing that. And then if you continued to say, with its environment and markets, you would get your second mark. Second bullet, the power that a business has on the environment. This determines the status it holds within the industry. There's meant to be another mark at the end. I robbed you of marks there. How rude. Okay, and that would have given you your 4 marks. Now, because we said elaborate on the meaning, I mark whatever you give me. If you write 4 bullets for me, I'm going to mark all your bullets until I get to my 4 marks. I'm just putting it out there. It's not the same as the first one where I mark your first 2 only. Remember there, I asked you to state 2 only. Okay. Right. And the answers I've tried to choose from the memo are so that it's easy to pick it out. So our keywords there is power relations, and our keywords were form relationships. The second bullet has power in it. Okay, moving on. Now we have 2.3. Beautiful scenario. Don't we love our scenarios? Okay, you might ask, how is that mark allocation? I'm going to show you once we get to the answer. So let's just read through it at this stage. So, Ulna, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Ulna manufacturers, then we have Ulna manufacturers invested a large amount of capital into an information technology system. Interesting. I'm going to leave that there. To update their business operations. Which is Ulna, change how their business is structured to compete in a changing market. So now we've asked of you, identify 2 ways. We've mentioned again how many you must do. 2 ways, meaning we're marking your first 2. Identify 2 ways in which are adapting to challenges of the business environment. And then we're going to motivate. Please, important, motivate by quoting from where? I don't know, from what I think. No, you're going to quote from the scenario. Please quote in full. I went to training last year where they mentioned they are going to become stricter with this, and they are going to start penalizing learners from not writing full. You might ask me, what is writing full? You write from a capital letter till a full stop. I've stressed this so much. I remember, like in the classroom, as many times as I've stressed this, you write the full sentence. And then you might say, but ma'am, it's so much writing, and it's right there, you can see it. You're either going to write the full thing or rob yourself of marks. I mean, the choice is yours, okay? So, it says use the table below as a guide. If you know by now you don't have to do a table, does it make it easier to do it in a table? Yes, for you and for us marking. So it's going to pop up all at once, so don't get a fright. There's your answer. Okay. Thank you for that answer. You are correct. Information management, because it gave us that as a keyword. So we have information management and organization, flexibility, and design. And then you'll see the quoting. So the quoting there, Ulna manufacturers invested a large amount. Do you see I've quoted the full sentence? The second one, organizational flexibility and design. Changed how their business is structured. If you're changing something, you're most likely flexible. Okay, hopefully not doing splits here or anything. So you are flexible, therefore you are changing how you structure your business in the competing market. So you're going to get 2 marks for naming information, 2 marks for naming organization, 1 mark motivation, 1 mark motivation. I also just want to point out, when it comes to these scenarios, you are always going to have 1 or 2 correct answers and your distractor. So our distractor there, which was the incorrect answer, is not there. Okay, never mind. Sorry, apologies for that. Normally, you'll have a distractor, which will be another sentence that'll say, I don't know, something else that's not relevant to what we're talking about. Okay. And then I just want to point out the notes. You guys might not see this because this is in the memo for markers. Do you see the notes say, mark the first two only? Why? I asked you to identify two ways only. The answer does not have to be in tabular format. Like I said, it doesn't have to be in a table. Award marks for the ways adapting to challenges, even if quotes were incomplete. I'm just noting there for a second. Yes, yes, it does say that, but I'm warning you, this is a 2022 paper. They are looking at changing it in the future. I see your reactions. I see your hundreds. Thank you so much for that. And then do not award marks for the motivations if the ways in adapting were incorrectly identified. Okay, so a way of adapting, you wrote, I don't know, you wrote merger. You wrote merger, but then your motivation was correct. You're going to get 0. No marks. Okay, because you cannot be getting the marks for motivating when you identified the wrong thing. You are motivating the wrong thing. And if you only motivate, you don't get the marks because you're literally copying and pasting from a table above. If you only identify, do you get the marks? Yes. Yes, you do. You get the marks if you only identify as well. Okay. All right. Are we all still good so far? Let me know. I'm enjoying the reactions. I hope you guys are enjoying the live. It's not that nerve-wracking. Maybe I should do this more often. Okay. Now we have still question 2.4. Explain the link between the primary, secondary, and tertiary sector. I just want to note there, I have asked this in a question paper before. I think it was maybe a year or two ago. Am I asking you for the meaning of primary, secondary, tertiary? Am I asking you for the meaning? No, I'm asking the link. I spoke earlier about chopping your tree down. Okay, you chop a tree, then you produce it and you make a chair, and then you go sell the chair. Okay, right? It's the link. And if you look at your notes, your keyword there is depend. Your keyword is depend. The one depends on the other. You cannot have them in isolation. So, 4 marks, 2 bullets. The primary sector depends on the secondary sector, 1 mark. For manufactured goods such as machinery, equipment, and fertilizers, if it has a slash, a dash, you pick a word. You do not need to write all 3. Please don't write all 3. Don't waste your time with that. I would just pick machinery. Okay? So in primary, this example comes from in the mining industry. So how am I able to mine for gold if I don't have machinery? So the primary sector needs and depends on the secondary sector for their machinery so that we can extract it. Then the primary is dependent on tertiary for consumer needs. Okay, if, for example, people are not buying paper anymore, or people are not buying wooden chairs and wooden tables, sounds a bit far-fetched, but we'll just go with it. So if people are not dependent on those items, the primary sector needs to know, because then we're no longer going to harvest and extract those items because they're no longer needed. Okay, so do you see how the one is dependent on the other? Are there more in this section? More answers? 100%. I think there's about 8 bullets here, but I've only given you 4 because it's not necessary to have all of them. Then discuss the following challenges of the market environment specifically. Shortage of supply of stock and changes in consumer behavior. 4 marks, 4 marks, meaning 2 bullets, 2 bullets. Okay, your shortage of supply, problem. Okay, I see that they've come up together. That's fine. Let's go through them. So, any shortage can have serious negative effect on production and profits. Now, because of that, and this is why I use these bullets together. And when you're studying, try and form yourself a story. That's what I used to do, and it's still what I do when I'm studying for business. Try and form a story for yourself. So if we don't have products or we don't have the equipment we need or whatever, then obviously we can't produce. If we can't produce, we can't make money. Now, how does that affect us? Dissatisfied customers can damage the reputation and threaten future business. If you keep going to a business and you're looking for a packet of chips or you're looking for, I'm not sure, maybe a Monster energy drink, and they constantly don't have it in stock, you're not going to want to go support that business because every time you keep going, they don't have what you need, and therefore their reputation can then be affected by the shortage of supply and the shortage of stock. Then changes in consumer behavior. We know consumers and customers, they change. I think we can see that in all. In all honesty, I think with growing technology and TikTok and Instagram and social media, I've noticed within myself, my changes in my consumer taste and behavior do change quite rapidly. So in that, where are notes? Consumers' preference and taste can change. You get a mark for that. As fashion changes and technology advances. I'm just saying, I said that word for word from my own wording before I read that. So do you see how you can take apart the notes and put it into your own life and think about you as a person? Let's think about it. Years ago, we used to all have fidget spinners and those pop toys. Do we still have those? No. If you do, that's cool. I never had a fidget spinner. I don't think so. Maybe I had it a very short time in my life. But it's because our preference changed. Okay, when smartphones came out and there were no longer buttons on a phone, it was weird for people. They didn't want to have smartphones. What are you telling me the whole screen is touchscreen? But now it's very few that have phones with buttons because our consumer taste and behavior changed over time. Then keeping up with changes in consumer taste and demand. So we know it changes. Now we need to keep up with it by doing research into what influences consumer demand by conducting advertising campaigns adds to the challenge. So we need to constantly, as a business, think about you as yourself. How many times your opinion and your taste and your preference changes. Now this business needs to analyze and do research on that. It can be a challenge and it can be rather exhausting to constantly keep up to the changes in what consumers want and obviously demand and supply and whatnot. Okay, I see I've got a comment. I'm just going to read that quickly. Also, business is dependent on its customers to purchase products 100%. Yes, 100%. If that was with the previous question, just make sure when you answer it like that, you need to answer it in a way that you use tertiary, primary, and secondary as well. So you can say within that same saying, because 100%, we're going to be dependent on the customers and their preference and what they purchase as products. Yes, I like that. Thank you for the reactions, guys, and thank you for just keeping engaged and your comments and your reactions. I really do appreciate it. I see some of you have little crowns noted on your little crowns there. Maybe if you're keen on it, maybe I should give a little prize at the end of this live. If anyone's interested, let me know if you would like a prize at the end of this, and I'm going to see the top fans and make my decision and give a prize at the end of this live. Right, moving right along. Just going to need to rehydrate. All right. So, okay, now we're moving on to the rest of question 2. Okay, 2.6. We are going to quote 2 ways that AS is involved in the macro environment. Let's read through the scenario. Okay, so, just give me a sec. Sorry, I'm looking at the live and it's a bit small. Anela, if I'm pronouncing that right, Anela Shoes expanded their businesses to other African countries by opening a store in Botswana. They are also spending money on research in the development of their shoes. Recently, the management also obtained a reliable supplier of raw materials of their shoes. Okay, then it says we need to find 2 ways that they are being involved in macro. Before we dive into macro, I do see you are very active. I see you. I notice you. I do take notes of that. I'm going to take the comments into consideration when I make my decision too. All right, so macro environments. Okay, before you answer this question, ask yourself the following questions. Macro, do I have control? Yes or no? That's going to help you with finding the ways that we can be involved. Macro, control, yes or no? Secondly, we need to ask ourselves, what are the components of macro? We've got technology, economic, environment, social, legal, political. Sure, guys, I'm really thinking off the top of my head now. I know it's pestle, but I'm trying to just, yes, no control is 100% correct. Economic environment, exactly. So once we have narrowed that down, okay, when we look at it like that, now we need to see what are the 2 ways. So before we get into the 2 ways, let's look at our scenario. We've said, quote, 2 ways. Now, here is where I was explaining where there's a distractor. So we have one sentence, sentence 2, and sentence 3, meaning I've asked you to quote 2, which means one of them is going to be incorrect. Okay? One of these here is going to be the incorrect answer because we're only going to quote on 2 of them. So let's just deep dive into that before we move on. So we are expanding into African countries, spending money on research and development. And the last one, we're looking for a reliable supplier. So quoting is those 2. I've asked you for 2, meaning I'm going to mark your first 2 only. So the first one we have is, how are we being involved? We are expanding into other African markets. That's how we're being involved in macro. We are, now think about it for yourself. If you're going to expand into another country, you need to look at their legislation, their laws, their exchange rates. So that's all involved in the macro environment. So I can't just move my business. So it says we moved and we opened a store in Botswana. I need to look, Botswana has the pula. The pula is stronger than the rand, believe it or not. So I will need to look at how much is the input cost going to be? How much can I sell my product? Because I can't say this product is 100 rand in South Africa, therefore it's going to be 100 pula in Botswana. I can't do that. I need to look at the exchange rates and stuff like that. So I'm looking at the economic environments. Okay, we're spending time on researching the development of their shoes. Okay, so there we're also taking time to look at development and to look where technology, in a sense, is changing. Okay, do not confuse yourself with that one. We are not saying consumer preferences and consumer taste. We're looking at a product as itself. If you had to look at smartphones and how smartphones are changing and evolving, that's what we're talking about here. Okay, again, like I said, we're marking the first 2 only. Right. Then for the second one, explain other ways. So what are other ways that we can be involved? It says 4 marks, therefore I've given 2 bullets there for you. Okay, I see my screen is cropping it a little bit. I can't help that at this stage, guys. I do apologize for that. Again, this will be uploaded later, so I'm going to read what I have there. Job creation by businesses will receive a subsidy or a tax reduction to have more trained workers. Increased involvement in social responsibility initiatives. Businesses get involved in socioeconomic issues through their training and communication. The bottom is very important. It is in the memo. Do not award marks for responses that were quoted from the scenario in 2.6.1. Why? Because I asked you for other ways. You cannot be getting free marks here, okay? You've already explained those two ways. You need to now explain other ways. So that's where learners fall short, is they will use the same ones at the bottom, and that's just not going to work. You're not going to get the marks for it because I've asked you for other ways. All right. Okay, everyone's still with me. I hope you've got your paper and pen, you're making notes. I'm loving the comments. Please don't go silent on the comments. And yeah, let's kick it and let's continue. Last one for question 2. Suggest ways in which businesses can overcome competition in the market. Okay, right. We're overcoming competition because we know competition and competitors is a component and a challenge in the market environment. So how can we overcome that competition? We, apologies, preventing environmental change, damages by being sustainable, keeping up with latest technology to ensure reaching the largest possible markets. Right. Okay, once again, 4 marks, 2 bullets. Right, question 3. Remember, this is on your marketing, production function, and human resources chapter. So all the questions involved in that one. Right, so we are going to name any 2 factors that influence pricing. I've asked you for 2. Therefore, how many am I going to mark? I'm going to mark your first 2 and first 2 only. So when it comes to pricing, we are going to have an input cost and demand for the product is going to influence pricing. I know within that we also looked at target audience and a few other things, but those are the 2 that I've picked out. Your input costs, coming back to my water, and I'm enjoying doing this live. How much does the lid cost to manufacture? How much does the bottle cost? How much does the straw cost to manufacture? Those are my input costs. If those are very high, it means my end result of my product is going to be very high. The demand for the product will also depend in where I am placing my pricing. Cool. Briefly outline the requirements of a good trademark. Here we have 6 marks. I think this is one of our first 6 marks. 6 marks, therefore we need 3 bullets. Okay. I see my comments have gone very quiet. Are you guys all still there? I hope so. Okay. And yes, trial and error, we do make mistakes. How many did I give you there? 2. I do apologize for that. I'm just going to pop open the memo for myself just in another screen. You guys can't see what I'm doing right at this stage. So yeah. Okay, so we're going to need a third one there, but let's not stress about that too much at this stage. Okay, so we're going to make it easier for consumers to recognize our products. We are also going to look how similar the second one is. Easy to recognize, remember, and pronounce the name of the trademark. That makes a really good trademark. Okay, there was another one in there. We need to make sure it's different from competitors, which I'm just adding into there while we go. And we also need to make it, it needs to be suitable for our product. So it needs to be suitable for the product we are actually producing. So when we think, it makes it easy for customers to recognize. If you are walking in, I think I used this when I did my marketing video. When you are walking in the aisle, okay, and you see Cadbury chocolates, what color are their chocolates? What color are their slabs? I want to see if anyone can get that right. What color are the slabs of Cadbury? Because I know if I walk down that aisle, there's just that color that I see. And that makes it a good trademark. Even Cadbury, when you think about the logo, it's very cursive and twirly. I see I've got a few comments. Let me just check there. Businesses can have trademarks to identify their products and identify themselves. Yes. Businesses can sue someone. Thank you so much for that. That one is the other one I was also thinking of. We can sue someone if they infringe on our trademark. The color of Cadbury, the slab, is purple. Okay, if anyone didn't know, you know now, it is purple. Okay, moving along swiftly. Identify the types of intermediaries used by Melwin manufacturers in each of the scenarios below. Okay, intermediaries, there we're talking about, I know another word, but please try not to use this in your exams. Another word is the middlemen. So I go from the farm. How do I get my millies from a farm to the actual store? I sometimes am using a intermediary, a middleman. Okay, so it's those middlemen that we're talking about. I know the section has quite a lot of them, so we're going to go through them each. Okay, I'm just looking at the comments again. The link is for 2024. This paper isn't. I am aware of that. I do apologize. After the live, I will definitely go and put the link for 2022. I realized when I started this live that it's actually 2022 and not 2024. All right, so Melwin manufacturers use small-scale traders to sell consumers in smaller qualities. Sorry, I think that's meant to be quantities. Okay, so we use smaller scale traders to sell to consumers in smaller quantities. And then we have, it is a retailer. So there we are using the intermediary of retailer. Okay, because we're not buying in bulk, we're buying smaller quantities. So I can go to Pick and Pay and Checkers and I can go buy 1 or 2 loaves of bread. I don't have to go buy 10 to get a discount or whatever the case is, to get it in bulk. Melwin manufacturers make use of representatives to organize transactions between them and the final consumer. Okay, well, that's a lot of information at once. We are using representatives, okay? I know in today's space, most people call them reps, okay? And we call them in business agents, okay? So we are using an agent, meaning this person is going to take it from an organization to the client and they go and find business for us as well. Right, 2 marks for each of those. That's all you needed to do. Right retailer, right agent, 2 marks, 2 marks. And you're done with that one. Alrighty, moving on. Explain total quality management as part of total quality management systems. TQM. Ooh, grade 11s, please. This gets done as a whole chapter, a chapter as a whole in grade 12. So please pay attention and please, I know marketing is a very daunting and overwhelming chapter, but this gets done as a chapter by itself in grade 12, and they love to ask essays on this chapter specifically. Okay, TQM, total quality management. We're looking at quality totally in the entire environment. In the business, sorry. We're looking in the whole business. Everyone from the receptionist to the sales guy to even the cleaner to the CEO all need to ensure quality in what they do. So when someone comes to our business, quality is being assured from start to finish. That is TQM in a nutshell. So there we have our 3 bullets, 6 marks. The focus is on improving quality of product and services in order to satisfy the needs of consumers. Okay, improving the overall quality. TQM refers to all aspects of quality within the business, so there it's from every level. It is the responsibility of everyone in the organization from top management to general worker, and if I just want to add my own there, to ensure quality. So do you see the bullets I've chosen? All go hand in hand and they all speak the same story. Were there more to choose from? Yes, I think, as I say, I think there were about 10 here. So choose ones that fit well and go well together. Now, before we move on, you might ask yourself, but ma'am, there's so many bullets. How many must I study? going through these, did you notice most questions are 4 marks, 6 marks? So to be safe, 4 bullets, meaning 2, 4, 6, 8. We are preparing, if you study 4 bullets under every single heading, you are then well prepared to answer any question, because likely it won't be asked out of 8 marks. So 4 bullets is definitely safe to study under every single heading. Okay, you guys still enjoying it? We're still learning something? Hopefully we're not getting too tired. I know I did warn you up front, this is a long video. These do take a long time. Okay, 3.5, discuss the role of public relations in publicity. Now, especially in Hollywood, we think of PR. Okay, public relations, in some degree, you can look at if there is something that is damaging our reputation or our image, then we need our PR committee to come and try and solve it and make it not look as bad in the papers and on social media. So that's what public relations is. But here we're looking at publicity specifically. 6 marks, 3 bullets, to which I only did 2. Again, I apologize for that. I've noted my mistakes and I will do better for lives going forward. So the PR department builds good relationships with representatives of the media and the press, like I mentioned. So we need to discuss things with media and press, because I'm sure you guys know by now, especially with social media. Back in the day, it used to be TV, newspapers, magazines, where nowadays social media has really just heightened things so much more. So we need to have a good relationship with people of the media, with people in press. Okay. And this way, they need to keep the media informed of news about product launches, opening of new factories or shops for the attention of the public. Okay, how are you going to know I'm opening a business if I'm not telling you I'm opening a business? And then I don't have it word for word, but there is a bullet that explains that it's important to have a good relationship for the reputation and the image of the business. All right. Now we're looking at 3.6, still on question 3. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. So I like to sometimes go on, read the question first, then I know what I'm looking for when I'm reading the scenario. Identify 2 salary determination methods, and then motivate by quoting from the scenario. Okay. If you did your study and research, you would know there are only 2 salary determination methods. So already in this, you could go write them down. You would get 4 marks. Why? 2 for the one and 2 for the other. Okay, immediately there. But going through it. Asset accountants employed Abby and Issa as financial accountants. Abby gets paid 5,000 Rand for each set of financial statements he completes. Issa gets paid 380 Rand per hour, which is your keyword, for performing her duties. Now, I asked you to identify 2 and to motivate. So, in that itself, we are going to see the 3 sentences. 1 is going to be the distractor, and we're going to have 2 correct answers. So, when we're looking through that, before we pop on the answer, he is getting paid for every set, for every piece of financial statements he completes, piecemeal. Okay, I've described this in a video before. I look at piecemeal as every piece that I can create or make, I get a meal, piecemeal. Okay, a meal meaning I'm getting paid for it, therefore I can go buy myself a meal and feed myself, okay? So, there in that one, we can already see it's piecemeal. Issa gets paid 380 Rand per hour, meaning she gets paid time related, because she will only get her money 380 Rand per hour. So if she works 2 hours a day, she's only going to get paid for those 2 hours. Whereas with Abi, he gets paid for every financial statement he completes. And there is it in your table 4. Okay, again, I see I'm cutting it off slightly. Piecemeal, 2 marks. Time-related, 2 marks. Motivation, 1 and 1. Please, again, quote from beginning of a sentence to a full stop. And then we'll see our sentence that were incorrect was the first one, as it's an introductory sentence. Our notes are as follows. Important notes, please. Only mark the first 2. Why? I only asked you for 2. Well, in the same breath, there are only 2, but moving on. The answer does not need to be in tabular format. 100% correct. It doesn't have to be in table format. Okay? Award marks for the salary determination method, even if quotes were incomplete. But be careful for that. They're going to change it in the future. Do not award marks for motivation if the salary determination methods were incorrectly identified. You cannot be getting marks if you're going to identify something incorrectly, and then you get marks for the motivation. Right, let's see how it's doing in the comments. Okay, I prefer business environments. I must be honest, me as well. I normally advise learners to rather do the business environments. The HR section of business operations is a bit easier, but for the most part, yes, I agree with you. Remember, that's why you have a choice when you are going through them. Okay, moving on. 3.7, discuss the recruitment procedure. We did discuss this briefly earlier through section A. Recruitment is before I do interviews, before people come into my business, before any of that. Recruitment is, I as the HR manager see we have a vacancy. Someone has retired, our business is expanding, we need more positions, someone maybe has passed away. Fortunately, that does happen. Someone, I think I did say resigned. So now we have a vacancy. So I've noted we have a vacancy. For what position? Sales, receptionist, HR manager, whatever the case is. Maybe not the HR manager, but yes. So now I need to put out an advert. But before I do that, I need to say, okay, we need a sales administrator. What are their requirements? What CV? What do they need on their CV? Do they need a matric? Do they need a degree? Do they need experience? Do they need a car? Do they need a driver's license? You get the gist of it. So there's our 3 there because it's for 6 marks. So I chose these 3 because, yes, you can mention anything I've just mentioned, but these 3 are really, really, really easy to mention. So we're going to choose our method of recruitment. It's either going to be internal or external. To reach our target and suitable applicants. Again, you can see the ors there. Pick a word. You can either use reach or target, or applicants or candidates. Vacancies can be internally advertised. So do you see what I did there? I said we must choose it either internally or externally. Then I explained internal and explained external. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Vacancies can be internally advertised via intranet email, word of mouth, posters, or staff notices. External recruitment should be considered if internal is unsuccessful. Okay. Then last one for question 3 before we move to question 4. Advise businesses on the legal requirements of an employment contract. Okay, employment contracts, remember we need to look at your hours worked, overtime, how much you're getting paid, your remuneration, and so on and so forth. Okay, again, I picked really easy ones. 4 marks, 2 bullets. Employment contract is an agreement between the employer and the employee, and it is legally binding. Okay, legally binding meaning I am bound to that contract. So if I break the contract, they can take me to the CCMA. If the employer breaks the contract, I can take them to the CCMA. So we can sue each other both ways if we both break this contract because it is legally binding. Okay. Then we both need to agree on it. Cool. The employer and new employee must both sign the contract. Guys, do you see how easy this is? So, yes, you can get into the nitty-gritty about working hours, about remuneration, about this and that, and legal, and But at the end of the day, remember, any type of contract needs to be an agreement between two people, and it needs to be signed. Okay, let's pop over the comments. Okay, you are definitely very active in the comments. Is it Pella Zuma? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I see you. I notice you. You are very, very active in the comments, and I do really appreciate the support. And yeah, keep it going. And your answer is correct. Working long hours without adequate breaks. Okay. Then we're moving on to question 4. Before we move on, I just want to show you. Do you see here business environments and business operations? It is literally half and half. If you go and count these marks, it is meant to be 20 marks for environments and 20 for operations. Okay, which I do think they did get right here. No, it's a bit off. Let's see, that's 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is 20. Yes, 20 marks and 20 marks, which is why I said to you, you should preferably do question 2 and 4 or 3 and 4. Okay, because if you didn't put too much effort and energy into the operations, which is marketing, production, and human resources, you're only going to be asked it for 20 marks here. Whereas if you do question 2 and 3, you're going to be asked 40 marks for what you studied hard, and then 40 marks for what you didn't study as hard. So please take that into consideration when you are answering these. But now, I do see it from time to time. Learners only answer half of it. Oh, it frustrates me. Can I just be honest there for a second? It frustrates me. You only do the business environments part. Just try the operations. Even if it's difficult, even if it's hard, please don't leave stuff out. I've always had the motto, rather try because you're 50% there. If you don't try, you're 100% failing in that section because you haven't even attempted or even tried. All right, so let's dive into them one by one. So 4.1, name 2 components of the macro environment. I've been naming them as we've been going. Okay. So the 2 I chose there was economic and social. You can put in there political, environmental, any of the others. Again, mark the first 2 only because I asked you for 2 specifically. Then scenario. This is a little bit small. I think I'm realizing that now. Okay. So let's read the question first, then scenario. Quote 2 challenges of the microenvironment from the scenario above. So, Boshoff traders are faced with many challenges. The managers at BT lack adequate management skills. Maybe keyword, maybe not. Difficult employees. Maybe keyword, maybe not. Also make the daily running of a business a challenge. The newly implemented labor restrictions are also affected negatively. So, well, before we go any further, okay, we said there 2 challenges of micro. Now, breaking it down once again, micro, full control, partial or no control. Okay, full control. It's inside the business. It's stuff that we can control. It's stuff that we can handle and manage. Okay, versus the other environments. So the first one, we're talking about lack of adequate managerial skills. All right, so if our managers are lacking skills, can we solve that? Is that an our problem, or is it something that we have no control about? We're just like, oh, well, they don't have managerial skills. It's just too bad. Okay, I'm going to get into that now. The second bullet, we're talking about difficult employees. They make business running and operations difficult. Do we have control over our employees? Can we do something? Can we give them written warnings? Can we dismiss them? Can we sit down and talk to them? Do we have control? Then we're talking about the labor restrictions. So new labor laws. Do we have control over labor laws? Are labor laws within microenvironments? No. No, no, and no. Okay, we can control our managers. We can control our staff. So there you have The managers at BT lack adequate managerial skills. Remember, we are quoting. Difficult employees also make daily running difficult because going back to the challenges in chapter 2, the challenges for these two were difficult employees and lack of adequate managerial skills. Do you see the keywords? We are giving these to you. Okay. Then again, mark the first two only because we asked you for the first two. Now, moving on. Okay, state two other challenges of micro still. We are still in the micro environment. Okay, we're still in the micro environment. Okay, and I see I am chopping a little bit there at the bottom of my screen. So, unions, strikes, and go slows. You could mention lack of vision and mission there as well. Again, mark the first two only, and note number 2 says, do not award marks for responses that were quoted from the scenario in 4.2.1. So if you wrote their difficult employees in the second question, you're not going to get the marks for that, okay? Don't be silly and make that mistake. Okay, let's pop over to the comments and see what I've been missing. Okay, you are more than welcome. Economic environment, legal, political, wonderful, excellent, exactly. Okay, high employee turnover, lack of vision and mission. It seems like someone has studied. Okay, I don't know if you did mention to me when you are writing. Just quickly scrolling back for a second. Sure, guys, a lot of you have retracted your comments. It's very sad to see. Please don't feel shy. Please don't retract them. Please don't feel shy. Pele Zuma, please let me know when you're writing, because it seems like you are definitely prepared for this paper coming up. I'm very happy to hear that. Hello, ma'am. Could you help me on how to write an essay? This is my first year in grade 11. Thank you. No problem. We are going to go through the essay. We're getting there. I do have a video that I posted, I think it was 2023, where I explained the whole essay in a whole, as a whole. And I do also offer tutoring. I see the tutoring is very slow, very sad. I do offer tutoring. It is in dollars, just because I use PayPal. And but if you're struggling with PayPal, you let me know and I can send you my banking details. You can always I can tutor you. We can go through essays and how to answer them, tips and tricks where you lose marks, where you can gain marks. It's 150 Rand for an hour on my tutoring. I do have it on my channel. Just let me know if you do want the link for that. Ma'am, do you know what's coming up in the paper for grade 11s? We are writing on Monday. I unfortunately do not know. Yeah, it's really difficult. I can't even try and spot because it makes it really difficult. Like I mentioned in the beginning of my live, teachers set up papers, districts, departments, provinces, so it's really difficult to pick up. It's really hard. If you're doing question 6, I will say, which sounds obvious, it's going to be marketing, production, or HR. And then on the other side, a very likelihood is going to be socioeconomic issues. They love asking that, socioeconomic issues. Or they will probably combine the first 3 chapters, influencing, challenging, and adapting to the business environment. I hope that helps. I'm writing tomorrow. Okay, well, I hope that this is making you feel a little bit more confident. So I'm wishing you the very best of luck. All of those that are writing tomorrow and for the weeks coming, I'm wishing you guys the best of luck. We are not shy. We are listening and taking notes, ma'am. Very true. Okay. I do forget sometimes I'm an educational channel. I'm not a channel where I'm doing entertainments and I'm busy jumping on my head. Okay, what's the scope? Did you get also, are you in grade 11? Okay, that's not for me. I'm writing tomorrow as well. I'm writing paper 2 tomorrow. Okay. Suda Adam, if I'm saying that right. Scopes are very difficult to also spot. I did do a video last week to explain the different chapters for the different questions. Hopefully that does help. And I have explained earlier in my live. Question 2 is on these chapters. Question 3 is on those chapters, and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. But thank you guys for just responding and just giving me a little bit of a moment before we just jump right back into it. So without further ado, let's continue because, yeah, that essay is coming up soon. All right, 4.3, explain the purpose of Labor Relations Act. Okay, I'm not going to dive into that. We've spoken a lot about it in this live. Okay, so we are providing fair labor practices between employees and employers. We are dealing with strikes, lockouts, and workplace forums. We're endorsing the right to strike against retrenchments and facility labor disputes. So yes, we are dealing with strikes and how strikes are handled and whatnot, but we're also endorsing. We're giving you the rights and saying you are allowed to strike. That's the Labor Relations Act. 3 bullets, 6 marks. Discuss hedging as inflation as a type of lobbying. Okay, before we move into that one, please study lobbying. Like, if there's nothing else you do today, lobbying, lobbying, lobbying. They love asking lobbying, okay? I have personally done it as an essay before, okay? It's a very nice one to put it as an essay because you can say, discuss lobbying as a whole, and then you can get learners to actually name them and explain them. So lobbying, yeah, please just make note of lobbying. They love asking it. Section B, or typically as an essay as well. So 4 marks, 2 bullets. Businesses invest their surplus funds so that its value grows at a faster rate than inflation. Businesses use hedging to protect their financial investments by spreading the risk. Okay, so if we're investing, so do you see those 2 bullets go hand in hand? We're investing our surplus funds, and why are we investing it? Because we are spreading the risk. Okay, again, I try to use it so that they are hand in hand and that I'm using ones that are similar. Okay, to the comments. Okay, Jared's writing on the 6th. I wish you all the very best of luck. 6 is just around the corner. Okay, Pelezuma, 4.3, take legal action on behalf of members if necessary. Yes, take legal action. Yes, 100%. Okay, and Michaela's writing on Monday. Okay, I do hope again that you guys are enjoying this, that you are learning something, and I also hope, and let me know in the comments, is it better doing it as a live or watching the video after the replay? My opinion, I'm enjoying the live a lot more because I normally would be sitting for this hour and 30 minutes by myself talking to my camera, just me. And I'm enjoying the engagement and answering the questions. So maybe I should do lives more often. Let me know. Okay, suggest ways in which businesses can have a direct influence on the environment. This question confuses learners all the time. Okay, so just be careful for this one. 4 marks, 2 bullets. So we can influence our suppliers by getting them to sign long-term contracts. We can also create new uses for products by finding new customers. Okay, just something silly. And I know this is years ago, so we can't use this as originality. But did you know that Play-Doh was not actually meant for kids to play with Play-Doh? It was actually meant to put against the wall and to clean marks off the wall. So do you see there, we are creating new uses for a product. And now when someone says Play-Doh, everyone thinks of it as Play-Doh, and a little kid is making little shapes and they're, I don't know, I used to like make little cupcakes and cakes. I used to form it into like I'm baking a cake. Okay. Anyway, so new uses for products. Okay, then we're moving on to the operations part of question 4. Name 2 aspects that must be considered during production planning. We asked for 2, therefore we are marking your first 2. What are the aspects? Planning, routing, scheduling, if I'm not mistaken, was there as well. Scheduling is also there. Okay, planning and routing. The way I think of it is on a conveyor belt, okay, there's going to be a route that the conveyor belt is going to take, and we need to plan for that route. Okay. Right, back to the comments. Business needs to be flexible by getting involved in research and development so that they will continue to operate. I like that as well. Yes. No, Sipo's saying a live is better because we can ask questions, but don't stop doing videos because they're really helpful. Okay, noted. Thank you for that feedback. Sorry, I'm having a little laugh there. Yeah, I will continue doing videos, yes. And okay, now I know how the feedback is on live, so I will look at doing lives as well. I think next time I go live, let me know your feedback if I should tell you days in advance or if I should do it very spontaneous. This morning I woke up and I was actually going to do, I'm working for a company remotely, and I was going to just do that work today. And then I thought to myself, oh goodness, I know with all my comments, you guys are writing soon, and I don't want to let you down because I know, as I say, some have already written, and I apologize for those that have written and missed this live. But I woke up this morning and I was like, you know what? No, I can't wait. And I was actually a bit bummed because here in Limpopo, a lot of the learners are writing today, so I actually did miss them. So I just thought, you know what? No, I'm doing it. So today, this morning, I made these slides, did all the animations, and I went live, and all the decisions were done today. I decided, let me just be spontaneous. Let me not be too scared. I've been thinking about going live since 2021, just so you guys know. But I've been too nervous and scared, and I used to fumble a lot more than what I do now. Now I've just become used to, if I make mistakes, it's okay. We're all human, and we all learn and grow. So I'm glad I'm doing lives. And so just know this was a very spontaneous decision. And going forward, I'm not sure if I should do, let you guys know in advance and have a schedule for my lives, or if I should do it as spontaneous as this morning. Alrighty. Then outline the purpose of induction as a human resource activity. Okay, 6 marks, 3 bullets. Remember, induction, we're all about introducing you. Induction, induct means similar to introduce. So you are coming to the business. It's your first day. Yay, first day on the job. Super happy. Okay. What do you feel on your first day of a job? You feel nervous. You feel nervous. You feel worried. You feel scared. So how do we make you feel more welcome and less anxious? We introduce you to new employees. We establish relationships with fellow colleagues from different levels. Make employees feel welcome by introducing them to the physical environment. Give new employees a tour, and I just added the information about the layout of the business. Another bullet there is to an induction reduces anxiety and makes an employee feel more welcome. Other bullets there were we actually explain to you what your scope of work is. Right. Okay, I'm just going to check over the comments again. Where was I? Excellent. Both are correct. Thank you for that. Just do lives. YouTube will notify us when you go live. Okay. I like that, Nosipo. Yeah, I like that. I will do that. It is starting to pour down here, so hopefully the rain is not too noisy, as blessed as rain is. We have to get distinctions because you are working harder for us. Can I tell you how long these slides took? I woke up this morning and was ready, dressed, and I started at 8 o'clock this morning, and I finished at 11:30. I finished doing it at 11:30. So, guys, it really takes a long time, and I know, and obviously I'm talking to the wrong crowd because people years ago on my YouTube channel would have wanted me to go live and do more lives and do more past paper videos, and I know they've probably matriculated by the time I'm saying this. But these past paper videos take so long. They really take so long. You guys can see we're almost on 2 hours here. So that's kind of why I used to put them off a lot. But I've come to see it's actually very necessary going through past paper videos and mistakes and how to answer questions, just as important as actually going through the videos themselves. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. I see those crowns. I see everyone with their crowns. I'm noting that. And I see the engagement. I appreciate it. I did mention earlier that I'm going to give something away for the top 3 crowns. So I see you. I see you in the comments. Let's continue before I end up making this a chat channel and not a learning channel. All right. So read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. We're going to answer the questions first, and then we're going to read the scenario. Name one stage of production design from the scenario. Okay, name one stage from production design. Wonder Bag specializes in the manufacturing of various traveling bags, Their designers are working on the design and development of product ideas that would allow for a one-size-fits-all approach. Now we need to name one, and then the next one is we need to explain it. Now we are doing product design. So we are physically designing the product. Okay. This is through design and development of ideas. Now, please be careful, because when I saw this firsthand, I would have immediately gone to go quote. Why? Because typically we are quoting or we're identifying and motivating. Please be careful. This is a really weird question. I don't think I've ever seen this before. I'm not going to lie to you. Normally, if you're going to name, you're going to motivate as well. But to just name, so please be careful. If you would have quoted there, you would have gotten it wrong. So we're not asking you to quote or motivate. We're asking you identify. So I know in the notes, there was something that said one size fits all, and that's where this comes in. But we also give you a tip to say we are designing the design and development of product ideas. So we are designing and developing. All right. Okay, you needed to mention one, therefore we're marking your first one only, and it's for 2 marks. Okay. Then for the second part of it, we need to explain other stages. So again, be careful. We are explaining other stages. We are not naming other stages. Okay, 6 marks, 3 bullets, which only I gave you 2. I apologize for that. Goodness gracious. Okay. The product is launched. Okay, my wording's off there. The product, okay, so we need to look at, okay, I'm going to reword that while I go. The product launch and marketing campaigns implemented. Oh my greatness. Okay. And then we also need to look at new product pricing and forecasting that is worked out. Note, please remember your notes. Do not award marks for responses that were quoted from the scenario in question 4.8.1, meaning if you're going to quote anything from that scenario, you're not getting the marks for that one. So please be very, very careful with that. Okay, you don't want to be losing marks for silly stuff here. Right, then the last one for question 4 before we move to the essay. Advise businesses on the placement procedure with human resources. Okay, so we have placement, we've got, no. We have recruitment, we have selection, and now we have the placement procedure. Okay, it's 4 marks, so 2 bullets there. Determine the successful candidate's strengths, weaknesses, and skills by subjecting them to a psychometric test. This bullet is very similar in the one in selecting for the interview, but the importance here is the psychometric testing. Determine the relationship between the position and the competencies of the new candidate. Okay, I've mentioned in a video when I did this video, I did the human resources one a few weeks ago, where I applied for a sales position at a college, and I ended up actually getting the student support role because it was a better placement for me. They selected me into a better placement for. Did I have to go for another interview? Yes, I had to go for another interview with student support, but just because you go for the interview doesn't mean you're either going to get it or not get it. It could also mean that maybe you're just not fit for that role, but you can be fit for another role as well. Okay, back to the comments for a second. Because of you, ma'am, I've moved from level 1, wow, to level 5. That is incredible. Can we just get Pele Zuma like a little round of applause there? That is incredible. Wow. Like, just know you got to believe in yourself too. Okay. You put in the hard work as well. You can't. I appreciate it, but I don't deserve all that credit because remember, you put in the hard work as well. But that is incredible. I'm really proud of you. And guys, if that's not a testimony that hard work pays off, then I don't know what is. So yeah, well done. That is incredible. And thank you just for your feedback as well. Yeah, I'm going back to a comment where I work harder than you guys. I mean, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, these slides, they take a little while. They really do. All right, then we have section C. Okay, we have question 5 and question 6. Now, before any of you come in the comments and you're like, oh my goodness, ma'am, you said socioeconomic issues and it's socioeconomic issues. Oh my goodness, ma'am, that's what I'm doing for tomorrow. This is a 2022 paper. This is an example. The one I did in my video explaining paper 1 and paper 2, don't know which one that one had, but I know for question 6, they did human resources. So just be careful which one you are, just be careful and please don't spot check. Like, be very careful to say to yourself, because it's happened in the past where learners have spot checked and they've tried to do a trend analysis. I had a learner in my class, they actually would write down for all the years, 2021, this was the essay, 2022, 2023, all the way to 2024. And then they would basically do an analysis and say, but ma'am, this is the essay. And then truth Bob, what happened? That year, the department decided, we've asked social and economic issues too many times, so we're going to ask something else. So just be very, very careful. Righty. We're going to do question 5, and then we're going to move to question 6. Okay. Before we do that, let's go through the format. Okay. We know FLASO. It is facts, layout, analysis, synthesis, and originality. Okay, we have 32 marks max here, 2 marks, 2 marks, 2 marks, and 2 marks, getting us to our grand total of 40. I need to see introduction, 2 bullets. Your first heading, you're not going to write heading 1, you're going to write whatever the heading is. 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets, minimum. Write more if you know more. Heading 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets. Heading 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets. Heading 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets. And I feel like we're doing a samba. Conclusion, 1 bullet only. Okay. That is the structure and the layout. You're going to say, but ma'am, I once wrote an introduction, but I didn't write the words introduction. Then you won't get your mark for layout. It's as simple as that. Do not write intro. Do not write conclude, tonk, clue, or illusion, whatever. You need to write it out in full. Okay. All right, so I have it pinned there to the top because we're going to go through all of them. That is going to stay there because we're going to answer all the questions. So here we are outlining the function of trade union, explaining negative impacts, discussing 3 types of ethical misconduct, and then we're looking at the solutions to piracy, patents, and trademarks. So let's start with our introduction. Now, what is important with the introduction is the word introduction, obviously. 2 bullets. You're going to get 1 mark each, only for introduction. I know everywhere else it's 2 bullets, 1 bullet, 2 marks. In introduction, it's 1 bullet, 1 mark. Okay. With this, you need to tie it into what they're asking here, but not repeating it. So they've asked for the functions of trade union, so you can give the meaning of a trade union or the roles of a trade union. Explain the negative impact of strikes. You can do the meaning of strikes. Ethical misconduct. That one's a bit tricky because they're asking for all 3. You don't want to be repeating them. Piracy. They have patent, trademark. You can also speak about copyright. Do you guys see? I know a lot of learners, they like to maybe repeat stuff, or they're like, ma'am, I don't know what to do in my introduction. Do what they are not asking. Okay. Or functions of a trade union. You're going to need 4 bullets there. So any extra bullets that you can remember, write them in introduction. Okay. The meaning of stuff is allowed in introduction. So strikes is a refusal. Strikes are a refusal to work by 2 or more employees in an effort to pressurize employers to give in to their demands. Now, the intro and conclusion has to be factual, yes, but they've made a small change as of last year, this year, where if you look at your notes, sometimes it'll say it's a refusal to work. No, we need full sentences here. What are you explaining? Strikes are the refusal to work. This is a refusal to work. Okay. Ethical misconduct is any behavior by employees of the business that is not consistent with the values of the business. Okay, so do you see here, ethical misconduct, I've explained the meaning in ethical misconduct. They asked for the types. Strikes, the negative impact. There I'm explaining the meaning. Okay, you guys still with me? Everyone still good? Can you use these for your essays? 100%. I got this directly from the memo itself. Okay, question time. If there's a noise, it's my dog rolling. She's excited because it's raining. Okay. Please include originality. I got you already done. When I was doing the planning for this, I thought to myself, what is an essay without originality? So already done, and take notes for that. It's coming up. Alrighty. So now we're going to do the first heading. So I'm just going to read the first heading again. Outline the functions of a trade union. When you are writing this as a heading, please take out the words in the front. Please don't write outline. Write the functions of a trade union. Not explain the negative impact of strikes, blah, blah, blah. Right. Hey, sorry. Let's just get her attention before she decides to take down the place. Okay, it's just my dog, so she's a little bit excited. Okay, the functions of a trade union. I gave you the structure to put 4 bullets under each. Why? Because it'll be 2, 4, 6, 8, and I'm going to show you how that ties in later. So with that, our 4 bullets, we are doing the functions. Please don't confuse it with the meaning or the roles. That's where learners also make mistakes. They will write the roles under functions and then wonder why they got it wrong. Okay, so we are protecting the interest of the workers. By this protection, we are influencing management for better working conditions, salaries, and benefits. By this, we are, do you see how they all tie in? Improving the material benefits of employees. And then lastly, supporting gender equality. Okay. Then our example there, okay, our originality. So remember, originality is important that you put the dates. I know they are asking, subject advisors are asking that learners put sources. I know that's difficult to write exactly what article you found it in. That is difficult. But for yourself, take your phone, okay, and type in there. Take your phone, type in, and write in there. Just getting my wording for a second, sorry. If you type this in, COSATU and strikes, or COSATU protection of workers, and if you can find the article, you are A-OK away. So COSATU, which is a trade union, okay, I just want to point that out, to trade union, recently held a nationwide protest on October the 7th, 2025, grade 11s, meaning you can use this one for next year too, because it's in 2025, therefore next year, it's still going to be relevant because it's within 2 years. Okay, remember we are working towards matric here. So in matric, you can use anything from 2025, and then it's going to be anything from 2026. 2024 is going to be too old for matric. So this essay, make a note, jot it down. Yeah, those that are here are getting it. Those that are not here are missing this out. It's important information here. Okay, so what were they protesting on? The demanding the protection of workers' rights and socioeconomic challenges. So you might say to me, but ma'am, you just gave a originality for strikes. Yes, but no. Okay. Remember, trade unions, they also control whether we can strike or not. Okay. And like it was mentioned in the comments earlier, we can infringe legal action. Okay. So COSATU is a Congress of South African Trade Union. Okay. And what are they doing? They are protecting the rights of workers. I'm mixing up those words, but protecting the rights of workers, protecting the interest of workers. Okay. Do you see how I've tied it in there? So you can either do it like mine, do it in a different color, although I wouldn't advise that because I know some schools are very strict on what color pen you write in. Or you can just write example here. Just write the example, or if you even want to write the originality, then your teacher will know clearly that this is an originality. Okay, I hope that helps. Let's go back to the comments for a second. Is this the exam, or so will human resources essay be there? Okay, this is a past paper from 2022, and human resources isn't the essay in this case, but it can be. I've explained in previous videos. I'm just going to close this window. It's getting a bit loud. Okay, I've explained in previous videos that what I've done in the past is I've asked HR why, because HR is a chapter for grade 12. So it can definitely be asked. Function of trade union, providing protection for their members, influencing government, it's 100%. Hey, you're really kicking it out the park and keeping it 100. Hopefully anyone gets the reference. If someone gets the reference, let me know. And yes, I am a Swiftie fan, if anyone did ask. Okay, so your max marks here is 10. So, meaning when I mark this, I'm going to mark all of your bullets until I get to 10. And then I would write there max. So, here we've done 2, 4, 6, 8. We're almost there. At the end of this essay, I'm going to explain, don't feel like this is disadvantaging you anyway because you don't have that 10. Remember, you guys don't get this beforehand. You don't get how many max it's going to be. I've seen some maxes of 16 marks for a section. You guys don't get this, and that's why I'm saying do 4 under each as a baseline, and you should be good. Okay. Moving on to explaining the negative impact of strikes as a socioeconomic issue. There it is. Again, I've got my 4 bullets because rather safe than sorry. Okay. So, strike actions may lead to production losses and decline in sales because you are physically not working, you are striking, therefore no production is getting done. So because no production is getting done, we have a loss of productivity, which can decrease economic growth. We have a loss of revenue. Why? Because you are not working, you are striking. Loss of revenue and financial loss on business operations. If there's looting or destruction of business property, infrastructure, and intimidation for non-striking workers. Because I'm sure you guys do know, if you're not going to strike and you're not with our cause, there might be some looting, destruction, or intimidation with regards to that. So there is my originality as well. So my advice is put 1 originality under each. Why do I say that? I've had it in the past where learners have done an originality, but it was actually wrong. Or they made it up and I couldn't research it. Okay, remember, originality has to be in the last 2 years, meaning grade 11s for you, anything from 2024 and anything from 2025 is 100% okay. Okay, 2023 is too old. Okay, then it has to be relevant and researchable. Relevant meaning the last 2 years. Researchable, I have to be able to take my phone and go and research it, or my laptop in that case. Okay. So my example there, I'm cutting it off. That's really a pity. Uber and Bolt e-hauling drivers have participated in, and they are planning strikes in South Africa due to high commission rates, safety concerns, and poor earning exacerbated by rising fuel costs. And this was in July 2025, meaning once again, you can use this example for next year. Okay, I don't want to make this a political channel. That's not what I'm here for. This is an educational channel. So I'm sure you've all heard of the obviously the combat between the taxis and Uber and Bolt. So you all, I'm sure, are aware what's going on there. But remember, the important part here is what's also important normally, name a company, or like this one is a trade union, and give a date. Uber and Bolt, and give a date. Okay. This one I was a little bit scared to use it, but I did find an article on it because it says that they are planning on striking. It doesn't, but it says that they are participating. So just make sure that you tie it in hand in hand with what they are asking. Okay. I'm just popping into the comments quickly. Someone retracted their comment. Hopefully I responded in time. Function of a trade union is, okay, I've read that one already, sorry. Is it for business environments? Yes, the essay we're doing is currently business environments and it's socioeconomic issues chapter. Okay, negative of strikes. Employees can lose their pay for all the days that are worked. Yes. Businesses lose income because productivity is low. Strikes can scale potential. You are definitely prepared for tomorrow. Can I just say that I'm not doing this to boast your ego, but you are definitely prepared because that is exactly 100% word for word according to the notes. So yes, you are 100% correct there with what you are saying. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, sorry. The max there is 12. So if we looked here, we got 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 marks there, and the max was 12. So that's why I always say in my videos, and I'm sure you've heard your teacher say it as well, if you know more, write more. So if you know 5 bullets here, write 5 bullets. Okay, we are not asking here name 3, name 2 with the 2 that we're busy with. So you can write as many as you like, and I, as the examiner and the marker, have to mark everything you've written. Okay, I'm going to pop up the next answer. And I'm going to just pour myself some water just for a little water break because my voice is struggling a little bit. I mean, I've been talking for 2 hours constant, so I think that is quite understandable. I'm just going to mute myself. Right, and we're back. So here they ask, discuss 3 types of ethical misconduct. There are only 3, to my knowledge. Correct me in the comments if there. I think there are only 3. So by merely naming the 3, you are getting 2 marks for naming it. Because why? They didn't state it. Here with piracy, they told you which ones. Here they said discuss 3 types. And I like it when examiners do this because it allows the learner to get more marks. And this is not what I'm encouraging. Please don't twist my words. I'm not saying only write the 3 of them, because yes, you will get 6 marks for that. Of course you will. But you do get 6 marks. So you're going to have 2, 4, 6. Then I know with my previous one, I said 4 bullets, but 1 under each is fine. Why? Because for every heading, you need to do 4 bullets, which will be 8 marks. If we go through this, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, which is actually above our 8 that I have mentioned. Okay, so with this, sexual harassment, 2 marks. Sexual harassment in the workplace involves unwelcome or unwanted conduct of a sexual nature for someone at work. Okay, 2 marks for naming, 2 marks for explanation. Corruption, 2 marks. Refers to any act of dishonesty such as bribery, theft, collusion, and kickbacks. Pick one. Don't write all of them. 2 marks. Then I'll come back to my originality. Mismanagement of funds, 2 marks. The mismanagement of funds refers to the wrongful use of funds that do not belong to a person, which is irregular expenses. I know another bullet there is also what you can say is using it for your own personal uses. Okay, do you see my notes? Mark the first 3 only, meaning the first 3 headings. So if you had written in this one, I don't know, inflation, which is obviously incorrect, you're going to get marks for this one, you're going to get this one wrong, and you're going to get this one right. And if you wrote corruption at the bottom, I will only mark your first 3. Right. Then it was a little bit difficult with this one to find an originality. Okay, but I found this one, which is the DA. They demand the SAPS to investigate the corruption and cover up at Tembiso Hospital and make arrests where appropriate. Okay, so they're doing an investigation on the corruption, and this was in September 2025. So once again, you can use this for grade 12. I tried to use ones that are this year, so you can use it for grade 12 as much as possible. And it's comment time just to check what everybody is to. Okay. Please borrow me your brain for 2 hours tomorrow. You're more than prepared. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I do think that is a brain that you do want to pick at this point. But you still have time. You still have time to prepare for tomorrow. And again, I hope that going through this is helping. So, yes. Okay, then we're doing the last one. Advise businesses on the following solutions to piracy, specifically patent and trademark. If you're going to be explaining copyright, it's going to be wrong. Okay. Oh, yeah. Then this is in the marking guidelines. So the type of ethical misconduct is 2 marks. And then your discussion is 2 marks, which means a max of 4. Which means if you had written another bullet here, I would have only marked your 2 discussion for 2 marks. All right. And obviously that's 4 each of them, which makes this section a submax of 4, 8, 12 for this heading. Then the last one. Okay, patents and trademarks, and you're not getting marks for them because they gave it to us. Okay, I've done 2 under each because for every heading, we need to do 2, 2. I just realized I didn't put a heading for this one. So yeah, me as the teacher would have lost the markers. I didn't write, your heading would have been solutions to piracy. So just be careful of that. There needed to be a heading here before I explained it to you. All right, so a patent prevents other businesses and people so that they do not produce or sell the same product. Remember, patents, we're always talking about inventions. So the business can take out a patent for a new invention and include a sample of their invention with application. Okay. A trademark, on the other hand, businesses can use trademarks to identify themselves and their products. They must register their trademark with the Register of Trademarks at the Companies and Intellectual Properties Registration. Again, do you see the split marking? So if you can't remember the other half of the sentence, so here, a patent prevents other businesses from producing, you get a mark, and selling the same product. Then my originality here, go research old school rugby jerseys, PTY Ltd. I'm sure you guys know of them. They sell those rugby jerseys, but they've got long sleeves and short sleeves, and they've just got a generic logo that they've created. So yes, it's in support of the Springbok team, but it's a company by themselves. I think they sell dresses too. Their dresses are pretty cool with their patterns. Just saying, their stuff is quite expensive, but we're going to use them as an example. So this one was difficult to find, but you can use this one. Old school rugby jerseys trademarked their I'm going to get there now, logo in May 2024. And that is the logo I'm referring to. Okay, this one was a little bit of a stretch for me to find. But you can see there's the logo mark. That symbol is what they trademarked. So now they, and only they, can use that symbol on their clothing and items. All right. Then for this heading, it was submax to 6. So we got there 2 and 4. If we added a third one, we could have gotten the extra marks there. Submax is 2 and 4, which is a max of 12. So if you had, for example, this is how the submax works. If you wrote 4 bullets here, I would have marked until I got 6 marks. So I would have done 2, 4, 6, and your third bullet I would have written max. If you wrote 1 bullet here, I would only give you 2 marks out of the 6. Okay, that's how the submaxes work. So if you immediately see this question, even if it says explain patent and trademark, remember there's a submax for the first one and a submax for the second one. All right, then conclusion, and then I'm going to check through the comments. So my conclusion, same thing, needs to be about any of these 4 headings that I've discussed, but not a repeat. I've given you guys 2 options. You only need to write 1, but I've given you 2 as I didn't want to limit you. So you can either write about trade unions that are involved in ways to address poverty reduction, job creation, and ways to create more equitable income and wealth distribution. Okay, so they're within the trade unions, sorry. Strikes represent the final stage of dispute or disagreement between management and employees and should be avoided at all costs. So now Pele Zuma mentioned about the legal action. Can you write that as the strikes in your conclusion? 100%. You can go and write that here down below. Okay, comments time. Okay, once again, if you're going to retract your comments and I don't get to them, I apologize for that. They must register a patent with the patent office in South Africa, 100%. Scarlett, you retracted your message, so I'm not sure what you said. I wrote this paper yesterday. I'm so sorry, I'm only getting to it now. Just let me know, was the paper pretty much exactly the same? Trademarks, businesses can have trademarks to identify themselves and their product. They can sue someone who infringes a trademark. It's weird. I was actually saying that while I was busy, but I didn't see your comment. I wanted to find out when you're doing paper 2. You guys will let me know. I think some of you said I need to go check my comments. Now my voice is really, really doing me dirty. Let me know when you guys are writing and give me suggestions. I don't want to leave the grade 10s and 12s out, so I do need to go live for their video too. And considering it took me, 8, 9, 10, 11, 3 hours to do the slides, I'm going to need to do that for grade 10 and 11, grade 10 and 12 as well. Goodness. Yeah. And then I can do your paper too. So whenever the first date is, and I have all my comments, I'm a bit late on comments. I need to respond to those. Then I can see when to do paper 2. Okay, Nasipa's just asking, you wrote, what paper is this? What province? Okay. My teacher's voice came to an end. No, it's still here. It's like maybe a little bit rustic, but it's still here for the most part. Okay, we're writing paper 2 on the 13th. Okay, we're in the last week of October. Would next week be fine? Not me having to manage my day job too. Yeah. Okay, I think let's do it for next week. And you know what? It's a bit easier as the live, so therefore I don't have to do editing afterwards because the editing takes a little bit of time. You guys can see I make mistakes every now and again, but I'm trying to keep it as flowy and natural as possible. Just checking my top fans. We have Nosipo in first place, Pilla Zuma in second place, and Epic Plays in first place. Okay, I'm still going to give you guys something after this live. Hopefully it's something that you guys really want or something that you need. Hopefully my business ideas meet your consumer demands. See what I did there? Okay. Moving on before I end up chatting to myself. All right, so what I've done here is just a breakdown of the marks. Okay, I've just put my flasso there. So this is always in the memo. So you can see introduction, you're going to get 2 marks. Okay. Introduction, 2 marks, meaning it's for your fact that you wrote an introduction. The first heading is 10 marks, second 12 marks, 12 marks, 12 marks, conclusion 2 marks. Then your layout, your analysis, your synthesis, and originality. I'm going to get to all of that now. 38 marks max for the section and 8 marks here. Okay. So there is our layout, our basic layout. I did modify it a bit because remember we had to give the 3 different types of ethical misconduct. Okay. So how did I split out those marks? So in introduction, you got your 2 marks. There's your 2 marks. Heading 1, which was the functions of trade union, you wrote, okay, 2 facts per bullet. Okay, so for every bullet you wrote, obviously you're getting 2 marks, and you wrote 4 bullets, which is 8. I think my wording there is maybe a little bit off. Okay, so it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8 marks for heading 1. So you see 8 marks, and I told you it's a max of 10. Bear with me. You had 1 originality there. Well done, you get your mark for originality. 2 facts per bullet for 4 bullets, 8 marks. Max was 12 marks. And you gave an originality. Well done. Okay, now I put an originality in each of these headings, but where's your originality examples? It's 2 max. Why do I say try and put 1 under each heading? Because if something is wrong, you still have 2 chances to get that mark as well. Then heading 3. Okay, it was 2 marks per heading, remember? Sexual harassment, corruption, and mismanagement of funds. 2 marks per heading. And then there were 3 headings, so you got 6 marks for the headings alone. And then if you put 1 bullet, per heading, which was 3 bullets in total, it gave you 6 marks, and then which will give you a total for heading 3 is 12 marks, and the max was 12 marks. Okay, it feels like we're doing math now. We're in math class. This is a business channel, I promise. 2 facts per bullet, and there are 4 bullets is 8 marks, and then your conclusion, conclusion is 2 marks. So your total for the essay that I did in this video today would have been 36 marks for all of these. Now I realized, right, that I only plus these and I didn't plus the top 2. So it would actually be 40 marks with your conclusion and your introduction. So you would be 40 marks. And now remember, guys, we said it's a max of 32. So yes, I know, you're giving too much. Yes, understood. You are giving more than what we are marking. But remember, if one of your facts is wrong, you still have, what's it? If you're writing for 40 marks, there are 8 marks as like a buffer in case something is wrong. Okay, and I would rather have a buffer than not have that buffer. So if you're worried that in this one it was 8 marks and here in the marking guidelines it says 10, guys, you're still above the max. All right. Then if we take all of their marks plus these 2, it's going to be 46. Sorry, my light's flickering. 46 plus the 2 is 48 and 50 marks. So when they set this out for learners, it's actually a max of 50 marks. And we max it to 32. And when your teachers tell you, and well, this teacher's telling you, I always tell my learners, do 4 under every heading. Do you see that we did 4 and this one had 3, but remember the headings you got marks? You had 36 marks, plus your 2 conclusion is 38, plus your 2 introduction is then 40 marks, and we're maxing it at 32. Now, moving on. Your layout. If you literally just wrote introduction with something underneath it, you can't just do the 2 little bullets, you'll get no marks. I would write an L next to here for layout, which is 1 mark. Conclusion, I'll write the other L here, which is your 2 marks. Your A, your analysis is, do I see you wrote 1, 2, 3, 4 headings, even if there's nothing underneath. Please don't write anything underneath. But even if there's nothing underneath, if you simply wrote all 4 headings, I will write A next to your last heading. Okay. I've seen learners before, if you don't do this heading, you skip a heading, you won't get your mark for analysis. The second mark for analysis is if you've received 16 marks here, 16 and above, guys, I'm telling you to write for 36 marks. If you've received 16 and above, you'll get your second A at the bottom here. Okay. Your synthesis, here we are talking about, okay, I don't want to get too complicated with this one. Your synthesis is, did you answer 50% or more? So did you answer 2 headings? Then you get 2 marks for S. For S, for synthesis, you can only lose marks. Okay, I'm going to check the comments now. If you guys are going crazy in the comments, I'm just busy with my screen quickly. So if you answered more than 50%, so if you answered all 4 headings and you wrote a little bit of something under every heading, you'll get your 2 marks. If you only answered 1 heading, or you wrote intro and conclusion, you wrote nothing here, which is very painful, then you will get minus 1S. Only minus 1S. Then the second thing is, if your essay doesn't have any facts that are relevant, meaning anything, like you either wrote nonsense, okay, trying to use nice wording here, you wrote nonsense and everything's not incorrect, please don't confuse it here. So you ended up, instead of writing about strikes, you wrote about the employee contract, which is completely the wrong thing. Or instead of writing about trademarks as a solution to piracy, you wrote about how to make up a good trademark. Do you see those are completely opposite chapters, completely opposite work? You will then lose a mark for synthesis as you are not writing about what we asked you. Okay. If what you wrote is wrong, that's different. You won't lose marks for that. So how do you get your 2 marks for synthesis? You make sure you answer more than 50%, and you make sure what you're writing about is actually relevant to what we asked you. Originality is your 2 examples under any of the headings, okay? in the last 2 years, and I must be able to research it. Okay. Let me check how my comments are doing. I will try my best tomorrow to get full marks for the essay. Okay. I really do hope so. Um, maybe in a few weeks. I know it takes a bit of time to mark essays and mark business studies papers. It takes a while. I used to teach 140, 150 learners, so it takes a bit of time. But let your teacher know. Maybe ask your teacher if you can have feedback about how you did for your essay and actually commented. If you comment on any of my videos, I will see them because my comments come like this. They come as a collection. So is there any questions on the essay, on the structure, anything that you're confused about? I hope my mathematical sum did not confuse you too much, and my marks there and my marks here and my marks here. Hopefully that helps you guys. Yeah. And remember, once again, if you write more, we can just mark more. It just gives us that allowance to mark. Okay, if there isn't anything, then without further ado, we are going to do question 6. I really hope that I'm not losing my audience in question 6, because I know this is very likely the essay that most of you will answer. So I hope that I'm not going to lose anyone and I end up talking to myself for the rest of the time. But without further ado, let's do question 6. And before we move on, with question 6, I have originality for the headings too. So you might want to just note and jot that down. Just putting it out there. Um, Everything is clear. Thank you, Nosipo. I truly appreciate that. My people with the crowns, please stay in because that surprise I told you is going to be at the end, and I wouldn't want you to miss it. I wouldn't be like that and obviously not give it to you, but I wouldn't want you to miss it. Pele Zuma, I will always be with you, I think you meant to say. Thanks. I appreciate the support. And thank you guys for spending 2 hours and 20 minutes with me. This is rather crazy, rather fun. Okay, so let's move on. All righty. So here we need to outline the advantages of production planning, explain the aspects of production control, discuss the purpose of Occupational Health and Safety Act, and we are recommending precautionary measures that the business can take when handling machinery. Introduction. 2 bullets, 1 mark each. Production planning refers to the setting of goals for the production department and establishing policies, programs, and procedures to achieve these goals. Controlling, okay, you see there where I should have worded it better. Production control is the control of each individual task and action in the production process to establish the starting and finishing of a task. So production planning goes with that heading, and this production control goes with that heading. Right. Then, our advantages of production planning. Do you see I took out the action verb? We do not need to write the outline. We need to write either the advantages or just advantages of production planning. Again, same format, our 4 bullets. Production planning allows a business to ensure that every machine and worker is used to their full capacity. Businesses can ensure that it has the correct amount of supplies and stock and inventory control at a given time. Production planning will prevent time being wasted and it increases the number of final products. Thus, it increases our productivity. Production planning process involves quality checks, which will improve our overall quality. Once again, do you see how I tried to let these all tie in? So here we're looking at if every machine and every worker is being used to their full capacity. I'm sure we know of it. We have some, I've had friends before that tell me, oh yeah, no, there's not a lot of work. And I'm not going to tell my boss that I don't have a lot of work. And I'm just going to sit here on TikTok and I'm going to watch videos, and they don't tell their boss. Well, they're actually wasting the company's resources. Okay. It's fun to sit back and do that thing, but think about if you guys want to become entrepreneurs, okay, and you're paying someone to sit on their phone and do nothing, just think about that for a second. Okay, obviously having the correct supplies and trying not to waste production planning. Then, our originality is from June 2025. BMW's new virtual factory technology may cut production planning costs by 30%. Go check out that article. I thought that was super interesting to hear about. Yeah, a virtual factory technology, which is very, very cool. So do you see how I tied this in? And this is literally the name of the article. Okay, we are cutting production costs. So if we're cutting production costs, it means that we have more money. So we can be more profitable. We can use that money for social, it's my wording, social responsibility. And we can use that money for other things, for investing. Okay. And then your max there was 10 marks, 2, 4, 6, 8 marks. And I'm going to do a breakdown of this one at the end as well. Then explain 3 aspects that must be considered during production control. So here we are planning how we're going to do our production. Now we must control that production. So we said explain 3, but we didn't say which 3 aspects. So inspection, following up and controlling, corrective action, and the last one was dispatching. I didn't use dispatching because I feel it confuses learners, so I did exclude it, but also we're marking the first 3 only. You are getting marks for the heading, so 2, 4, 6 for just naming the headings. When we look at inspection, this involves checking the quality of the process and the final product. I'm going to get to originality now. Following up or controlling. Following up, make sure the scheduling and production systems are running according to plan. Corrective action. Corrective action involves any adjustments to the planning process. Okay. And then for your marks, you're going to get 2, 4, 6. So it's a max of 12 for this question. My originality is from October 2024, which will be a bit old for next year for matric. The city of Tshwane has the highest shortage of health inspectors in Gauteng, with 1 inspector for every 60,000 people in the metro. So why did I include this? Because health inspectors are doing their inspection, of course. You can add on there, if we have a shortage of health inspectors, it means that we're not checking the quality of the process and our final product. I'm just putting it out there, right? This forms part of the quality of performance chapter for grade 12. So before we move on, I just want to explain how the originality works in another context as well. So, because me as an educator, I was also a bit confused. So it works from the month, 2 years. So right now where we're sitting, we are in October. So when you are writing your paper, you can use anything from this October to the previous October, meaning 2025 to 2024. You can also include anything up until October 2023. Yes, okay. So you can use October 2023, November, December 2023, anything from 2024 and anything from 2025. Okay, I hope that makes sense and it doesn't confuse you guys. Okay, so this one I've used, you can use for matric up until, when would it be? Up until October 2026. But remember, then we're getting risky business, because if you're writing in November, it's going to be too old. So just be very, very careful. I hope that makes sense and it didn't confuse you guys more. And then here's our submax. So you're going to get 2 marks for your type and 2 marks for your explanation. So the max here anyway was 4 marks. So if you gave me an extra bullet, I would have maxed it at 4 marks. So 4, 8, 12. Okay. Apologies if you did see that. I just was getting a call in. If you didn't, it's perfectly fine. Maybe I'm exposing myself here. So, recommend precautionary measures that businesses should take when... No, we're not there yet. We're discussing the purpose of occupational health and safety. That call completely threw me off. Sorry, let me just take a sip. Okay, 4 bullets there. So, requires every business to establish and maintain a safe work environment that is without risk to the health of workers. Review the efficiency of health and safety measures. requires that the main dangers and potential incidents of the workplace be identified and eliminated. And then lastly, the Occupational Health and Safety Act examines the causes of incidents by any employee relating to employees' health and safety at the work. So I try to, again, let this all tie in, okay? So an example there, it's a bit gross, I'm just warning up front, was from November 2024, which means you can use it for this year, okay, because it was a year ago, and you can use it for matric because it's November 2024, okay. So here, the Eastern Cape woman finds a surgical mask in frozen chicken pieces bought from a sponsor shop. This was the name of the article. So obviously, why did I use this as an example? Because it's the Occupational Health and Safety Act that is going to ensure that we maintain a safe work environment without risks to health. This is a huge risk to health. Reviews the efficiency of health and safety measures, and it requires that main dangers and potential incidences of the workplace be identified. Well, this is a problem. Okay, that is a clear problem. I was a little bit gross when I saw the article, especially when you see the picture. So if you want to go look at that, you're more than welcome. Just go write it in there and you'll find it. Okay, then we are recommending precautionary measures that businesses should take when handling machinery. Oh, before I move on, max of 12, 2, 4, 6, 8. Then, lastly, recommend precautionary measures that businesses should take when handling machinery. So, all machinery and equipment must be correctly installed and safe to use. Regular safety checks must be carried out, and machinery should be maintained and serviced regularly. Develop a culture of safety in the workplace. Familiarize employees with safety procedures. Okay, all talking about safety. There's another bullet here. I feel like Pele Zuma is going to post it in the comments where it says you should train your employees on how to handle machinery and to use it properly. Okay, I'm sorry if I exposed you there for a second, but you've been very engaging in the comments and I'm very grateful and appreciative of that. Then my originality there, I just want to let you guys know, I'm going to be honest, for this essay, it was really difficult to get originality, so I don't blame you guys. For the previous essay, it was much easier, but for this essay, it was very tricky. So Midlands EMS Advanced Life Support, you can just write Midlands Life Support, okay? You have to write all of that. Their paramedics were dispatched to an industrial accident in the Howick area, which was in June 2025. Why did I put that there? Because this is maybe a bit of an assumption on my side, but if there's an industrial accident, we're talking about in the industrial environment. Maybe there was a machine. Okay, here we're talking about develop a culture of safety in the workplace. Okay, we need to regularly check machinery. I didn't go check at the rest of the article to see what it's about, but hopefully you guys will agree with me that that one actually ties in quite nicely, if you will agree with me there. All right, so moving on to our conclusion. Max 12 marks, 20 marks, that would be nice. 2, 4, 6, 8. And then our conclusion. Production control ensures that production is undertaken according to the production plan. Production control and production plan go hand in hand with those first two. Ongoing production planning is necessary due to the constant changes in the manufacturing process. So we constantly need to look at the plan. Let's go back to BMW for a second. Okay, now I'm going back and it looks a bit ugly. Okay, they looked at their factory and they created a virtual factory technology. So we are cutting the production planning cost by 30%. Okay, where are we? Here. Okay, so there's constant new changes, getting new machinery to make it quicker, to do the production quicker, whatnot. Right. Then I did the same here. The format is similar, but please guys notice it's not always like this. Sometimes a heading can be for 16 marks or 18 marks. It can differ depending. Okay, Flasso, I am going to go through this quite quickly. If anyone's new and just joined the live, it might seem like I'm rambling through this quite quickly, but when you watch the video at the end, when it's uploaded, then you will see that I've already gone through this in detail. All right, so again, we need our introduction written out in full. Do not write intro, do not write duction, do not write write the full word, 2 bullets. Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, which that editing is terrible. Great goodness gracious. Okay, never mind, it took 3 hours to do this. Apparently I did it a bit sloppy too. Okay, moving on. Conclusion is 1 bullet. Don't write conc, don't write clude, don't write conclude, just write conclusion. Okay, it's not that hard. 1 bullet. Then here I split it out into our 3 because remember they did ask us for 3 aspects that must be considered during production control. So the mark allocation, 2 marks for intro, 2 facts per bullet, therefore 4 bullets, 8 marks, 1 originality. 2 marks per heading, and there were 3 headings, which is 6 marks. Then if we add in the bullets, which was 3 bullets, 1 mark per bullet. No, 1 bullet, 2 marks, but obviously there were 3 bullets, which is 6, which gives us 12. See, I'm even getting lost because I'm a business studies teacher, not a math teacher. Then 2 facts per bullet, 4 bullets, 8 marks. I added the originality there because it was getting a little bit messy here with my facts and figures. Another originality. And then once again, 8 marks and our 2 marks, which gave us 36. But bearing in mind, when I did this calculation, I didn't include the conclusion and the introduction, which would have given you 38 and 40 marks in total there. Right. So, okay, 36 marks for facts. Okay, if you include all of these, we got to 46. But again, like the previous essay, add 2 for intro, add 2 for conclusion, and you get to 50 marks there. Okay, I'm going to leave that on the screen for a second while I just quickly go through my comments. Okay. Hey, we survived. Or I survived. I'm not too sure. We were a team. We did this together. We survived. Hi, miss. Will there be a live for grade 12? Do you see what I meant? What I said, guys? I feel like I just said I need to do one for grade 12s. Yes, I am planning. This is my first live, so I am planning on doing one for grade 12s. And let me do it properly this time and actually do 2024, not 2022. Familiarize employees with safety procedures, develop a culture of safety in the workplace. You are definitely ready for tomorrow. You know, yep, you are 100% ready for tomorrow. Nosipo and Pele Zuma, I just want to let you know, so with your crown, you get points. You two are tied for points. So either I'm going to give you two the same prize, or if you would like to go and change your XP there. And yeah, you can get more by sending live chats and sending super chats and stickers. So if you two would like to just change your scoring there so that I can choose the winner, because right now it shows Nosipo's at 1 and Pele Zuma's at 2, but in actual fact, you two are tied with 150 XP points, both of you. All right. And then I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. All the best for the exams. Here are the resources. I will go and I'll leave the 2024 one there, but I'll make sure I'll go and put the 2022, which was this paper as well. So there are the resources that I made use of for this video for today. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing because we are done on that note. Phew, like I said, we survived. Okay. So I'm sure that this helped. I could see you guys were smashing those comments. I just, from my side again, I just want to say thank you for joining today. Thank you for supporting. And drum roll, I didn't forget about the small prizes. So, you're leaving us so early. This live's been going for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Sean Africa, I'm not leaving that early. This live's been going on for a while, to be very honest. So yeah. All right. So as you guys heard earlier, I mentioned about the tutoring. So okay, I see Nosipo and Pele are still in ties. So I'll give you guys the same prize on that happy note. I can always send a screenshot later if you guys want to know exactly, because I did see you guys are tied with 150. So, Nosipo, I am going to give you 2 free tutoring sessions. So, I'm going to send you a message, and or what might be easier is just send me an email. But I am taking note of this. And Pele Zuma, you also get 2 tutoring sessions. So let me know what time would work best for you guys. If you're going to go into my schedule, it's going to show that obviously I'm busy. But let me know, and I can. This is a prize I'm giving to you. So for Pele Zuma and Nosipo, I'm giving you 2 tutoring sessions about paper 1 and paper 2. Let me know, obviously, it's tutoring, so you guys will let me know specifically what you are struggling with, and it's going to be an hour one-on-one, so we're going to do 2 of those sessions, free of charge, no payment. Nosipo, you are most welcome, and thank you as well for joining. I appreciate it. And then for Epic Plays, which has 75 XP points, I'm giving you 1 free hour of tutoring. So just make sure you guys send me an email. My email is in my bio on my channel. Let me just post it here for a second. It is teacherilona20, because I started in 2020, at gmail.com. All right. Okay, I see we have spam. Spam, I am going to remove your message, because we don't do spam here for this channel. This is an educational channel to help learners. You're most welcome. Hope you guys are happy with your prizes. Hopefully it came as a surprise. And yeah. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'm wishing you all the very best of luck. If there's anything else you guys want to post, otherwise, I think let's give it 5 minutes, and then I'm going to end the live. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it, and I think let's go live more often, because it's not as intimidating as I thought. Bele Zuma, you are most welcome, and thank you for just smashing those comments, smashing those likes, and being engaged, and I'm wishing all the best for tomorrow. Okay, any last question, guys? Anything else that you guys want to ask? Any last questions, something you're confused about, I need to go through again? Let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to end this live in the next 5 minutes. Okay, once again, I'm just reminding you, any last comments, any last messages before I end the live? Going once, going twice, and it would look like that's a no. Okay, bye guys. Hope to see you guys in my next video, as you know. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining today, supporting my channel, and supporting what I do here. And I'm wishing you guys all the very best of luck. Good luck for grade 12. Listen to me. Good luck for grade 11. I'm really thinking ahead. Good luck for grade 11. And yeah, go smash those exams. And good luck for those that are writing tomorrow. And for those that are writing paper 2, coming soon as well. Bye, guys.